Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Hello, my name is Jules, my pronouns are he, him. If you are new here, I am a commercial food photographer and stylist and soon to be published cookbook author. And today we are doing a 6-month flip plus 2-month bonus of my Jibun Techo Diary. In another video, I will do the 6-month flip of the days, Jibun Techo days, but today we're just doing the diary, so I don't have like a 2-hour-long video. I say 2-month bonus because we're actually going to start with November of last year. I'm not going to do the front matter. I'm saving the front matter for when I do the year flip at the end of this year. But let's start with November of 2021. And I'm going to do a quick overview of how I use the month section. So the month section is an at a glance, everything I have going on in the month. Major appointments, major things I have to remember. It's not like every single little thing, but deadlines, appointments, stuff like that. On this side, I use this column as things I would like to get done during the month that have no deadline. And I do keep notes about the word count for whatever books that I'm working on. And this month is really chaotic and messy because I had just received my Jibun Techo first kit. And I'm playing with different layouts and ideas during the month of November to see what worked for me. And you will see through this that there's been quite an evolution before I finally settled on something that's been pretty much consistent since January, minus some changes. I'm just looking, oh yeah, if there's like big premieres happening of TV shows that I want to remember, that goes in here too. So yeah, this is like when I first got it and switched from Traveler's notebooks, and there's a video that I will link here about my old planner system and my new lineup. Then when we get to December, we start to see a little bit more of what ended up being my outline or my style through the rest of 2022. We're still in December 2021. The main difference is that instead of doing like quick highlights like this, and I might actually go back to this, but it's kind of messy for my liking. I like it in other people's diaries and journals when I see this. Not necessarily for me. Everything is also color-coded. I have a color code based off of task, or if there's a day dedicated to something. Like these are all shoot days, social media creation, deadlines also have a color, just so I can see at a glance also what days are dedicated to, if a day is dedicated to a specific task. Then we get to January, and we can see that now I color in the date box. When I was using the Tombow brush pens to color this in, Tombow brush pens are so saturated that you could no longer see the date, so I would have to draw the date back on top of the Tombow brush pen so I would know the dates. I also decorate things with stickers and washi, just to give it a little bit of some extra character. Is there anything I want to bring to note in January? No, there's nothing really big, huge going on here except for my art exhibit that started in January. I should also note that in November is when I got the call with my publisher for my publishing contract, and I had like my contract signed and returned the day after. It was pretty quick. January was my birthday on the 9th, and I share it with 2 friends, which is actually kind of cool. But other than that, my art exhibit, there was really nothing else of note in January. February was a really, really busy month because on March 1st, I had to submit the outline or the finished manuscript for my book. So, this is when my exhibit ended and I had to unload everything. And people's birthdays, tech test, I don't know for what. Birthdays, more word counts. When the TV show returns. It's interesting that maybe I'm going to go back and color that because I have a lot of shoot days that happened in September that I did not color in after the fact. And then in March, I switched to Ohuhu alcohol pens to keep it muted. And then I outline with the Tombow brush pen. Still kind of doing the same thing, major notable stuff. These were all photography days. That's why it's those colors. And I'm probably going to go back and color it in for other ones, just so I can look back at a glance. Even though I'm keeping track of photography days for my cookbook, as well in the Gantt charts in my days, which you will see at another point. What else happened in March? So my manuscript was due, and I submitted it. And I was speaker at a food conference. Masked Singer came back. I was filmed for, there was a documentary made about me in February. Friends' birthdays, other things like that. And then just some general deco. April, I had to finish up photography, and I had to hand in... Oh no, so that was March is when I had to finish photography. And it was due, images were due April 1st. Then, also, here, that reminds me. So these last 2 weeks, and it's kind of faded. That's the problem with the alcohol pens. Besides the fact that they bleed through the paper, they also fade over time. So I will not be using the alcohol brush pens anymore. As much as I love how desaturated or unsaturated they are, they fade over time and they bleed through the paper. And so I completely missed that these last 2 weeks were highlighted in, because it was I take a staycation or a holiday at the end of every quarter for 2 weeks, and that's what this was. So that's also noted. Anything else that happened? Yeah, so that was April 1st. I submitted the images for my cookbook. It was my kid's birthday. My kid released, my youngest, I have 2 kids. My youngest released another album. Holidays. I got my booster, my 4th booster, in April for the panini. More birthdays, life plan with me's. So yeah, nothing really too exciting. To-dos. May I had a lot going on. These were all... What was I cooking in May? Oh no, these were all writing, I think. Yes, I was doing... copy edits was happening in May. That is right, that's why these are all brown. So that does remind me, I do, for the month of September, when I was doing some more reshoots, I do need to go back and color that. Because I colored in, these are all days that I was doing copy editing for my cookbook. I had an MRI for my spinal cord tumor. I received my copy edits, and I was done them within 3 weeks. Anything else that I want to recall that happened? No, I mean, it's, I've been so busy with the cookbook that things look kind of not a lot happening, but once we get to the week section, you'll see that's not the case. And then June, yeah, that would make it 6 months. My manuscript was due, and I handed that in. I had my blood work, which is quarterly, or no, every 3. Yeah, so that's quarterly. I was a vendor at Island Good Days, which was, so I'm part of a brand called Island Good. It's basically goods that are produced on Vancouver Island, and we had a market mid-Vancouver Island where we were selling our wares, and I was selling my art. So that happened in June, and it was the first day of summer. And my book went to design, which was really interesting. And then I moved to using washi tape to mark off my holidays because of a regular viewer and person who joins me in chat on the Saturday Live Planning with me, Anomic, suggested it. And so I tried it, and I actually liked it. And I'm still using washi to mark off my holidays. So that's how my months at a glance looked throughout the first 6 months of the year. And then if we get to the weeklies section, you'll see, again, this is like when I first got it, and I was playing really fast and loose with different designs. It's like this top color, or like this top row at this point was like something that was happening. So I was a guest speaker at a photography conference, and so that's what that is, Light Matters. So this is like all blocked off because I was at Light Matters, and then I was coloring things in this color based off of like what the day was dedicated to, and slapping stickers, and kind of like, yeah, I'm just playing with time blocks and how I am going to note what I'm doing, because part of my color code is for every specific type of task, whether it be photography, recipe development and cooking, admin work, social media creation, personal stuff, meetings, like work-based meetings. They each have a color code, so I can look at a glance how I'm spending my time to help me better manage my time, better manage my spoons, because I'm a spoonie, better manage life. If I'm having like days in a row where I'm like really, really run down, then I can look to see if there's a better way that I can be managing my time very easily at a glance. So that's what the purpose of the blocks is. And this week, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. The month view, this column is used for things I would like to get accomplished during the month that don't have a deadline. In the weekly view, it's the same thing, except for is if I have time during the week to add some extra tasks. These are some things that I would like to get done during the week. And then down here, like, I check in with my body 3 times a day at 10 a.m., at 2 p.m., at 6 p.m. to see how many spoons I have. And depending on how many spoons I have, that decides what I'm going to be doing during, like, the intermediary blocks between that. And so this time here is, like, specific colors for, like, me watching television on my own and my partner and I. And it's just very, very messy. And then I'm playing with stickers to add a deco element as well. And it's gross, but this is, like, me trying to figure out a system that works for me since I was new to the Jibun. And then the second week of November, again, it's still very messy, but I'm playing with solid color blocks, and I spilled water on here, and I'm just playing with, like, putting deadlines up in this top part, deliveries in this part, and blocking off my Sundays with washi tape, because Sundays is personal days. I'll never work on a Sunday. It's family time, and so this is like a visual thing, like, you don't do anything on Sundays except for family stuff. This area I'm still noting, like, if there's something specific that happened that day, whether I have a migraine or Happy Meal or whatever, goes down here, the body check-ins. But I still haven't decided on a color code. It's still very messy. The next week of November, again, messy. I'm still playing, but I'm getting more. You're starting to see the beginnings of what my system is now. I have this top thing I'm using for what the priority is for the week. Like, basically my priority is decided on, this is what you do before anything else. And so, like, it doesn't matter if I have one spoon, because if I have this system where, based off my spoons, my energy levels, I have tasks that I know I'm able to complete based on energy levels. And my priority is basically, like, what task do I prioritize based on my energy levels, and anything else that I have to get done is, like, at the very, very, very bottom of the list. So it's, like, priority and then self-care. I'm entering self-care to remind myself to have that visual reminder. Self-care is necessary. I am more productive when I take the time off when I'm feeling crappy than pushing through. I was using washi tape to like, because this whole block here is continuing ed and prep, and so I was like playing with washi tape to kind of block off the things that are the same every single day. I'm playing with how I put my deco. It's messy, but it's starting to get closer to what I do now. And then this 4th week of November, I played with doing things more like, because this is how Kokuyo kind of has their demos, their suggestions of how to use it. So I played with that for a bit. For doing the blocks, and it really did not work for me because there was no visual, like, really easy visual cues about where I'm spending my time. Then, yeah, these are just like to do things that I have to get done during the week. No deadline, but let's function that. And then we get into December. And this is where I start playing with different color palettes. With the Tombow brush pens. Priority is up there. And then if it's an admin day or a shoot day, so like basically the overall theme for the day is like the 0 to 6 a.m. And then from 6 to 8 a.m. is things like grocery shopping that I have to do that day, or if a delivery is expected, or if there's a deadline, or if somebody's birthday's happening. It's been going in here, and then continuing ed and prep. And for this time, then I have breakfast, my breaks, then I work for 3 hours, take my lunch break, work for 3 more hours, and my day is done. Still doing the body check-ins, migraine still, things I want to remember. That's still happening. We're getting closer to how I use my weeks now and color code things as we move into December. But here, like, I'm just doing it, like, very, like, how people just, like, quickly, nothing, it's not neat and tidy. This works for some people, it doesn't work for me. And then I moved on to, okay, I will color things in neatly and then outline them to give it just a little bit of definition. Again, the priority or something that I know is happening this week, which this was my photography exhibit. I was shooting for it. That's what, and admin days. That's what, like, the color. And if like today, now instead of saying exhibit, because this makes me think that my exhibit is happening now that I'm looking back. But when I look at the priority or the theme for the day in this block, I can see that actually my priority was to shoot, or like finish editing the images for my exhibit and making sure that I had the canvases and everything printed off in time. I was on City News that week. I was like putting down and I was journaling things that I was watching. Yeah, Happy Mail. I wasn't writing down exactly. I just put Happy Mail. I have no idea what Happy Mail I got that day. I have since then, that has changed, and I start putting Happy Mail, but this is more like in line to what I am doing now. And then, yeah, we're now into December. Is there anything I want to remember in this December? Oh, this was I finished trauma therapy. I think it was actually January that I finished it for real, but this is when I decided that I was done with trauma therapy. Write-ins, and you can see now with the system is really easy to tell how I'm spending my time. You might not know my color code system, but I can see at a glance how my time is being spent. Happy Mail took a tumble. I take lots of tumbles, but I know why I was supposed to, and I have forgotten to do this, supposed to write down every time I fall because of my spinal cord tumor, and I'm not so great at doing that. But I can see that I started doing that. I haven't continued with that. Yeah, making notes of what I'm watching. We're watching The Shrink Next Door. That's really good. That was a personal day, so yeah, just deco. And then we get into anything I want to remember in this week. Priority was recipe development. Printer deadline. Normally, that would go down here now. I've kind of switched up how things go. It's still the same. I just want to look if there's anything I want to. I ordered my exhibit prints. Sore muscles. I don't know why I made note of that. Postcards arrived. Oh, there was so much snow this day, and that was rare. That was noteworthy. A lot of snow, and no energy. This week I have no energy, and you can't see it because of how dark that is. Oh, this is when, so New Year's, I was in the ER. Turned out I had a kidney stone, and my pain started on this day, and it was bad. It took me till the 1st to go into the ER, and I didn't want to go because of the panini, and I have kidney issues. And so I was waiting to see, what type of kidney issue I was having. But you can see now also, the continuing ed and prep, I'm just, putting it in the middle column. Same with my breakfast. Break, I'm putting every single time, which I've changed since then because it's redundant to do it like this. But my color codes are still the color blocks, and it's still neat and tidy with some deco, and some stickers. I'm also up here noting what I this is recipe development week, and so it's cooking, and I've noted what I've cooked in those days, because I know that on those days in my days, there is a recipe or notes about that recipe for me to refer to. So it kind of works as an index up there. Yeah, same with matzo meal. That's another thing that I know that when I go to I know I have notes somewhere about that. Up there. Anything else? Oh, finalized the cake. There was a lot of things that got moved. We're watching Ted Lasso. I gotta know when that comes back. Oh, excuse if you can hear my dog snoring. They're sleeping right behind the mic. Matzah. There's lots of matzah that I was developing. It took me days and days to make sure that I got this recipe right, and to make sure it was kosher, and to make sure that the development time was under the 18 minutes necessary to observe Jewish law if you are observing that specific law for Passover. So I had to retest over and over again, and I have notes in my days about how start and stop times, so I can make sure that the method, after repeating testing, was within the 18-minute rule of from beginning to end of kneading the dough to getting it in the oven to cook was in that time. Happy Meal, got some washi. I broke 40,000 words in my manuscript that day. That's a big deal. Again, so much snow. More Happy Meal, a pasta maker, tape, and tweezers. That's funny. Oh, let's move on. Oh, it was my birthday this week as well. And then we're moving on. Is there anything? Refried beans. air fryer custard. That did not work out, and it makes me really, really sad because I was really hoping to do an air fryer custard in the cookbook, and it just did not work out. It was very sad. I got a new freezer that finally arrived for my studio. My canvases for my art show arrived late. That was a whole story. Because of snow, they got delayed. So much snow. Natural disasters. They got delayed. And so like the first week of my exhibit was actually shut down because there was so much snow. What else? Great. Oh yeah, I had an artist talk. I did an artist talk. And I was interviewed by CBC. I was in the newspaper. And this was for real my last day of therapy. Yeah. That was a day. Anything noteworthy in this week of January? More recipes nailed. I was very happy with that. My Hobonichi Animal Crossing cover arrived. That was exciting. I broke 43,000 words, which is a big deal. Meal kit maker. That's great. I'm going to be doing that soon as well. I'm going to be having a meal kit. My dehydrator racks arrived. I also make notes of sleep. Anything else I want to remember? I don't think so. And then we're now getting into photography. And the priority being photography. Happy Meal, Sticky Club. I had another infection. I was in the emergency room again for an infection. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that sucks. I reached 45,000 words in my manuscript. Infection is back. Yeah. January was a rough month when I looked at it health-wise, and it's amazing that I got so much done. Like, I finished so much in January. Sorry that my dog is snoring. Priority this week was self-care. That's right, because I was sicker than a dog. And so I decided that anything else I had, like I had a lot planned for this because I was in neck deep in having to finish up my manuscript because that was due March 1st. Photography, recipe development, all that. And so this week was like, my priority is self-care. And so I took it very easy, just doing like light admin stuff. Didn't do any recipe development or any photography. I kept it very, very light. And then I took a much needed personal day. And just another note to that I started Snowpiercer, and I don't know why I didn't put it up there. Yeah. Anything interesting happened? Now we're into February. Finished my rough manuscript on February 9th, which gave me like 3 weeks to be able to do proofreading, like to find really easy to find errors before submitting it for copy editing to my publisher. So that was a very important day. 4400, I have to remember what that is, and I have notes about it somewhere. I was reading in one of my journals about this, but I don't even remember what the 4400 is about. Which is a problem. Special day. Yes, that's a special day stick. I'm like, what was so special about this day? And then I looked down and I finished the manuscript. And it gave me plenty of time to proofread it before having to submit it. The priority for this week was edits and final recipe testing. So I had to retest a whole bunch of recipes to make sure that, and that was part of the final proofreading process before submitting my manuscript. Sorry for making my camera shake. Was to retest a bunch of the recipes that I hadn't tested in a while to make sure that the recipes as written worked, and they didn't need to have like big, huge edits. Making great progress. So yeah, this is another exciting thing. So on this week, what I did was the week before is I printed off the manuscript on paper, and I used an actual pen, and I read it that way because it actually helps you to find more errors when you do it that way. So I finished my paper edits, and then the next step was to transfer those paper edits into the digital manuscript. Yeah, Happy Mail. Anything else? These are all the things that I have to retest that week if I had time. Priority again was principal photography and more edits. So these are all written here because I had, for a lot of these, I had sketches in my days for these shoots. Got some washi in the Happy Mail. I think that was washi that I got from the illuminating box on Etsy. I'm pretty sure that's what the Happy Mail was. Finished all parts of the manuscript on the 23rd, so that was really exciting. The foreword. Oh, I received the foreword from John Kovalik, who wrote the foreword, and it made me cry. Like, it gave me feels. Some Happy Meal, some markers and pens, some of the nightmares. I think like being done, the stress was like, whew, I'm done. With a few days to spare, and let's bring on the nightmares. It's have the same thing when I used to act. I used to do theater, and I would get stage fright after the fact and never beforehand, because after you're done and it's like, oh boy, I'm done. What did people think? And that's when I would worry. Yeah. Then we're into March now. In March, so as you see, I'm using the Tombow brush pens, and they're just so saturated for me that I saw grayscale alcohol-based pens that are from Ohuhu brand, and so I switched to that because they're more muted, and I like the muted, how muted they are, how desaturated, unsaturated, I'm not quite sure what the word is, they are. But there are a couple problems with alcohol-based pens, is they bleed through this paper, they bleed through all paper, they even bleed through hard stock, and over time they fade. So as much as I love how muted it is, it's not a good long-term thing in this, which makes me sad. So I'm going to have to switch back to more saturated pens in the new year. I submitted my manuscript on March 1st. Happy Mail came, some sticker flakes, and a washi holder from Sticky Club. More nightmares, and more washi. So I'm trying to think, maybe one of the washi was from Amazon and the other from Illuminating Box. I'm not quite sure. I didn't make a note there. My priority was the shoots, because I had to have those done for April 1st. Yeah. I'm just playing with decorations. And then, why is my sleep so broken? Still having nightmares, bad sleep. And I wrote this here because it had been a week, and this is like how I check in to see what's going on, to do a mental health check and be like, okay, what is going on? What can I fix? What can I do differently so I'm not having nightmares and I can get my sleep back into order? And I think it was just basically acknowledging that I'm stressed out about the book and just how people are going to receive it, because I do tackle ableism very on the nose, and I was worried that my publisher would ask me to tone down me calling out ableism. Thankfully they didn't, but it was a fear I had. These are all notes of things I shot, those like photographed images that I made those days for the book. And then, so this is when I found out that the Cow Up wanted to feature me in a documentary. Just some things I wished: Happy Mail tape and glue, some replacement for one of my Tombows that one of my dogs ate. I finished art journaling. I got some good sleep finally, and it was just acknowledging what I was afraid about. Is like, ooh, I'm back to sleeping without being up every half an hour. And then we move into April. No, we're still in March, sorry. I got Just Dance. I bought Just Dance 22 because it was on sale. I got a new desk. It's this desk right here. I got some more art brushes and an A6 which I have not used. So I fell out completely, which is fine because it was like $20, and the whole reason why I got that size was if I fall out, then I fall out, and I have something I can use for something at some point. And then We're now like the end of April into March, and I spent the day, I don't know why I made a note of this, because I was like, I took a whole self day, and I just wanted to, like, I spent the whole entire day processing or researching protein powders, and that's how my particular flavor of autism works, is just getting sucked down the rabbit hole of making sure that the protein powders are independently tested and reading that testing to see like how good they are. I bought Cozy Grove. I had to reset my Surface Book, which was a pain in the butt. Meant I had to reinstall everything. Amazing Sleep. This is also when I submitted my images. Oh yeah, I was on Priority Relax. I was on holiday during these 2 weeks as well. So that's why there's not really much going on here. And I'm making more like vague notes about what I'm doing at the bottom. We're into April. And this is when I realized that getting up to do a dance break every hour when my watch goes off to tell me to move is so much better than doing 250 steps. My work days vastly improved once I figured that trick out. Made a note about because I have GERD, and so like GERD is like acid reflux extra when you're sleeping. Like I actually vomit in my sleep. Oh, this is also when I started to outline the pail so I could have more definition between the blocks, and this is when I became very, very happy with this. It's just too bad that the colors bleed on one side to the other and they fade over time, because this is like this. I look at this and I'm very happy. Meals I had to cook that day, food days photography. Yeah, this is also when I started doing my food days photography, which there's a video I'll link here setting up the food days project in my Hobonichi Cousins that I use as a project planner. Admin days are draining me. They do, and they still do this to this point. And this is also, yeah, if you look here, when I started, because my break is basically the same time, so I kind of like color the whole thing, and I just do an arrow through, because that's basically the same time every day, with odd exception. So that's another slight change that I made to how I design and lay out my pages when I do my weekly setup every single Saturday, which you should join me for at 1 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. British time. I joined the Andrew Scrivani Academy. Andrew Scrivani, who's an amazing world-renowned photographer, likes my photography. Binged Center Seat, which was really, really good. Happy Mail, still just a geek. Still haven't finished listening and reading to that. This is when I found out that I will be teaching in the Andrew Scrivani Academy. Or possibly. Anything else going on? No. We're all nearly the end of April. End of April, first bands arrived. Or Fitbit bands arrived. I got new Fitbit bands because I was allergic to the one that came in the box. Got some Sticky Club, Primo images. I don't know why I wrote that down, and I'm hoping that this was a meeting, and I'm not quite sure for what. I'm hoping that the Primo images, if I look in my days, I will know what that means. More Bad Sleep, Star Trek magazines. What is that all about? Star Trek, I don't know. Vaccine took all my spoons. Oh yes, that's what I know what it is. I got some Star Trek 55 anniversary magazines. I got 2 different covers, the one with Kirk and the one with Spock. And that's when I had my booster as well. Took me a minute to read that the vaccine, this was the first time, it took my 4th shot to get side effects from the vaccine. It like wiped me out. And I had to cancel my life plan with me. And then we're into May. Some notes about, again, some compliments that I got about my photography. Today was a lot. It was, I had 2 meetings, like, back to back, and it really took me out, and it made me remind myself that I have to take an hour before to mentally prepare for a meeting, and an hour afterwards to unwind and to, like, decompress. And when I don't take that decompress time, I'm completely hooped, and I didn't have any really decompressed time between meetings here. And I was still tired from the day before. And I left these notes here. Again, it was to remind me of, yeah, this is, like, it's really, really important that I take that time, because if I don't, then I pay for it for days afterwards. And more broken sleep. And why has my resting headache jumped? Heart rate jumped. Oh yes, I was having a bad heart rate day that day. So that was just a note that I had to take, like, what's going on with my body. I need to monitor that to figure out why my resting heart rate has suddenly jumped. And then Happy Mail Sticky Club, that's what the stamp is from. More photography. Priority was edits. This is, I'm into the copy edits. When did that start? Right here. Look at there as well. Yeah, priority. I didn't have a priority this week, which is interesting. Nothing happened. I think the reason why was because I was expecting my copy edits that week, and they didn't arrive. They arrived the week after. Again, copy edits were priority, and again, their copy edits were a priority. More crap sleep, more migraines. And this was important because I was getting ready to talk to my doctor about getting tested for sleep apnea, which, surprise, I have. Yeah. And again, copy edits. I submitted my copy edits, and I had to create an accessibility doc for everybody working on my book to understand, like, things that absolutely have to be in the book to make it usable for neurodivergent folks. And so just for them to know that certain things that are in the book are purposeful, and doing the proofreading process, which we just finished, to make sure that those things are happening. So we keep that consistent. And I received first royalty statement. And that's funny. I put payment. And it really should be statement. And the reason why I got a royalty statement is because I got advance on my book. And my royalties are a negative, because the royalties in advance is an advance on earnings from book sales. And I haven't earned anything yet to pay that back and then start getting actual royalties. And that was a pleasant surprise. I didn't know that was happening. And we're into June now. We'll be this is when I found out for sure that I will be teaching for Andrew Scrivani. Priority was to catch up, because I had been, I was so buried in copy edits that everything else kind of, like, fell through the wayside, and I had 2 weeks to catch up on everything that did not happen during the previous 3 months when I was, like, really heading to book before I went on to holidays at the end of the month. And so started watching Fire Island, and I didn't have room here, so I wanted to make sure I had a note there for it. I had a really bad anxiety day that day, and so I took self-care day. I don't know what happened. I woke up, and it's probably, if I was to look into my days, I would have a note in there of something that I had to respond to or deal with that caused my anxiety to spike, and for me to have to take the rest of the day off. And then resumed morning quick core. Again, this is just a little note because I wanted to track progress of something, so I put that down there. My priority for this week was to wrap everything up for my holiday. I got a migraine, and I received the catalog copy for my book. And what that is publishers create a catalog of the upcoming season's titles to distribute to book buyers. and the marketing copy is the catalog copy, and it's also going to be on the back of the book. And before I went on holiday, I got that to approve, and that was an unexpected surprise. And then my priority was to relax because I was on holiday. Happy Meal Sticky Club. I binged Telling Our Twisted Histories podcast, CBC. And I did a photography that day. GERD again all night, which I learned is also like a side effect of sleep apnea. Go figure. Who knew? I didn't. I mean, people knew, obviously. Yeah, I woke up very unwell with zeros and just noting symptoms to keep track of for my doctor. And then the final week of June, let's ignore this. Still waking up crappy, and I started a new book. And my priority was the holiday, and I did some photography, and I started a new recipe development and photography, and that is the June for for my Jibun Techo Diary. If you have any questions about how I use my diary, if you want more information, let me know in the comments, and I would be happy to answer them. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, if it gave you ideas on how to use your Jibun Techo, then like this video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and ring the notification bell so that you get notified, so that you not only get notified when new videos are posted, but you also get notified for when I go live. And the reason why those notifications are important is if I have to cancel an already scheduled live plan with me, then at the 30-minute warning, I changed the title of the stream to let people know that I'm having to cancel it because I am unwell. So yeah, thanks for watching. Until next time, bye.